Hey everyone, Annika Godlewski here for another week of Maximum Storytelling. Hello. Okay, so I have been so excited the past week because we have been finalizing the speakers for MaxLawCon 2021. This conference has been so overdue because of our lovely friend COVID that has taken away our chances, or took away our chance rather, of having the conference in 2020. So we have rescheduled for 2021. Originally, it was supposed to be in June. And of course, we had to push it to October because, we just want to make sure that everything is as safe as possible before we start seeing each other in person. But all of the excitement that Jim and Tyson and Becca and I have been experiencing while going through this process of making sure that it's going to be just as big and awesome and amazing as it was going to be in 2020, all that excitement has really got my wheels turning about how to create really great videos while you're at a conference. So I know that right now, there are still so many conferences going on and they're all virtual, of course, whether it's Zoom or Google Hangouts or any of these, Facebook Lives or any of these other virtual platforms that are allowing people to attend the conferences that they would typically attend in an in-person venue. I mean, they're all obviously still going on, right? But once the world opens back up and once we are all able to uncross our fingers that we can see each other in face to face once again, there's so many opportunities to capture all of those moments on video. And even if you're not, even if you're not slated to be on stage, even if you're not part of the organizing team, or even if you're, maybe just a general attendee ticket holder who you think isn't, quite as important. Everyone's important. All of the attendees are important. And we want to hear from everyone, right? But also, it doesn't matter if it's a conference having to do with the legal world or a conference having to do with marketing, or, I mean, maybe you're traveling with your spouse to a medical conference, or I don't know, any type of conference that there is out there. There are so many opportunities to create great videos and to show your audiences back home what your life is like when you're on the road and traveling to different places. So the biggest message, I guess the overall umbrella message that you're going to want to send when creating some of these videos while you're at conferences is that education and continuing education is important to you. And it's important to making sure, it's important to the office, and it's part of your strategy to make sure that you have all of the information that you need to be good at your job and to therefore help your clients. So if you keep in mind that that is, the underlying theme that you're always going to have, then from, under that umbrella theme, you can build the various videos based on that education component. So one of the first things that you should do when trying to figure out what type of videos to make while you're at conferences is to look at the attendee list. A lot of conferences will release that ahead of time, or, sometimes you can ask for it if you just want to get a list of, the people that are going to be there. It's typically general knowledge. You won't always be able to get access to the contact information for all of those people, but that doesn't matter. I mean, you can look at the names and the firms that they work for and see who you already know and who you want to know and who you want to meet. And then you're also going to want to come up with a list of questions that, conversational questions that you're going to want to bounce back and forth between all these different people. So it's a really good idea to get a gimbal. A gimbal, it's one of those handheld devices that prevents phones from shaking. I mean, you can do it, you can get one for regular cameras, but really at a conference, so many of our cell phones, especially with some of the newer Androids and some of the newer iPhones, the cameras are so spectacular. They don't feel like you have to go out and buy a fancy camera just to go to a conference, right? Because you are going to still be spending quite a bit of your time attending all of the sessions and attending the speeches, things like that. But it would be helpful to have, something that you can just walk around with when you're in your little video mode. So get a gimbal, and then look at the attendee list. Look at also the sponsors who are going to be at the conference. A lot of times, you probably know some of these sponsors just from your interactions, through previous conferences that you've been to, or some of the services that you yourself hire for your own office. A lot of the people that are in, especially in the maximum lawyer world, I mean, there are so many different connections that are made on so many different levels. It's not necessarily only in the Maximum Lawyer Guild. I mean, that's just one small component. But, since the Facebook group, what today is February 24th, the Facebook group is already up to, like, I don't know, 4,200 people or something like that. So between all of those people, between all of the questions that are asked and all the questions that are answered and all the podcast episodes that go on, I mean, there are limitless ways for you to connect with people from virtually any background and from really any expertise, right? If you have a specific question or a specific interest in any more information about a certain topic, there are literally limitless opportunities in Maximum Lawyer for you to pull from. So that also means that you could have some face-to-face time. If you look at those lists ahead of time, you could quite possibly set up face-to-face time with any of those people on your wish list of those that you would love, to meet. Now, if you you take it as far as to contact those people on your own and say, like, look, I would love to connect with you at the conference. The schedule for, using MaxLawCon as an example, right? We'll have the agenda out fairly early so that everyone can know where they need to be and, what rooms are in what and how much downtime you'll have and, when the breaks are and all those things. So if you already know if you take the time to go over the agenda and look at everything, then you can figure out within the schedule where you can fit meeting up with some of the people that you're interested in meeting with. So after you have the schedule and after you have the list of, people that you would like to connect with, don't be shy about sitting down and doing videos with them. I mean, again, as we always say on virtually every episode, it doesn't have to be anything that is, that's too stuffy or too sit down, your tie straightened and doing very, very particular interviews. It can just be a banter back and forth. It can be conversations. It can be, sitting in sitting just in a quiet space, talking about your guys' lives and your kids and, what you like to do for fun and, what business advice you would give to the general public or to any, maybe new lawyer who's thinking about hanging a shingle. Just keep the conversation light and keep it interesting. And usually there's a map also of the venue. So again, using MaxLawCon as an example, just for the sake of this podcast episode, while we're talking about video at conferences, we'll have a map of Ameristar Casino. That's where the conference is going to be held, but there's also the hotel connected so that guests can stay and all the attendees can stay right there on the premises. So there are so many different, little restaurants and little corners and little breakout areas and little, interview rooms that you're more than welcome to utilize. And those will be on the map as well. So anytime you go to any conference, they're going to give you a map of what everything looks like and where you have to be. So, take a little bit of time, even right when you fly in and you get to the venue, pull out the map and go look around and scope things out. Ask anyone working there what the best place would be to find a quiet spot at the time that you need. And people are always more than willing to accommodate. I know at MaxLawCon, obviously, Jim Tyson Becker, I will always be, around to ask. So don't hesitate to pull one of us aside. But making a few phone calls ahead of time to the people that you would love to talk to, and then also, scheduling a little bit of time to talk to them, or even scheduling just a time to connect and to have a drink or have an appetizer somewhere. That can even break the ice so that you can plan a little bit of a video interview later on in the conference. MaxLawCon is going to be, it's a 2-day conference with the guild members invited for a third day. Their first, guild members will have their own special meeting on Monday, and then the general attendees will come on Tuesday and Wednesday, October 11th, 12th, and 13th. So, I mean, again, every conference is usually 2 to 3 days, especially in the legal world. I know so many of you that are in Maximum Lawyer Guild and part of the Maximum Lawyer Facebook group. You know how those conferences go. I think we all miss them, and we all miss seeing our friends, and we all miss hearing such awesome advice from the experts on stage. We miss the camaraderie of, just seeing your colleagues in person. And of course, social media makes it so easy to, keep up with one another on, what's going on, and, where the vacations are going, where you're going on vacation. Well, not really so much right now because of COVID, but, who's graduating and who's going off to what school and who's doing what. Of course, you have that information right at your fingertips with, screens and social media platforms, but nothing beats seeing somebody face to face. And I think the one thing that I'm going to miss the most, hopefully enough vaccines will make their way around, or the COVID numbers will go down enough for all of us to hug one another, but won't be surprised if it doesn't happen. But even handshakes, I think that's everything like that is going to change a little bit, and you're not going to have that personal, handshake and hug, a connection that we're all used to having at conferences. So doing video and having, those taking the time to schedule those private conversations and then to capture that on film is going to mean a little bit more this year, I think. So, in addition to scheduling little chats or interviews with the people that you would love to connect with on video, you can also just walk around with your cell phone on a gimbal and just say, talk to people, say, hey, tell me your best piece of advice from 2020, or tell me the thing that you're most looking forward to for 2022, or tell me what the biggest change that you've seen happen is, or tell me one goal you would love to accomplish, or one goal that you would love to accomplish in the next year. Come up with 2 or 3 key questions that are lighthearted, that are applicable to everyone and anyone there, and just walk around and ask people. I'm telling you, people are going to be in such a great mood from being able to see each other face to face that most likely you're going to get some really great reactions, but you're also going to get a lot of smiles, and you're going to get a lot of interested people who are willing to just say a few words on camera. And then, what you'll end up with are all of these great little pieces of advice from all of these other attorneys who are like-minded and who have the same ultimate goal of serving their clients in the best way possible. They want to serve their clients so well, and they want to do so well at their own businesses that they're willing to fly across the country to learn more and to spread the information that they have further, and to bounce ideas off of one another. So it's a really great feeling. If you're a new lawyer, a brand new lawyer listening to this podcast, and you haven't been to any of the legal marketing conferences out there yet, you are in for a real treat, especially if you come to MaxLawCon. Again, I'm not just trying to pitch the conference. Anyone who has been to any legal conference in the past, 5 years, they do any organization, really, they really do a great job of connecting people and, helping everyone just feel great about the profession and feel great about figuring out the best ways to help one another and to help businesses grow. So I encourage all of you guys to take it a step further than just, sitting back and listening to the people on stage. I encourage you to make the connections, but also get out your cell phones and make some video. You're really going to appreciate it after you're home and, quietly counting the days until the next conference. It'll help get you through until that next in-person event, since we all know they're going to be a little bit farther and fewer between compared to the heydays of like 2019 when there were conferences every month. We don't always have as many opportunities now with COVID, but again, I encourage you all to get out there, to talk to one another, get out the cell phones, create little videos like that. Don't even worry about edits, or don't worry about scripts. Don't worry about making a bunch of takes. You're going to end up with some pretty hilarious bloopers. That is all part of the fun. It'll make you laugh. It'll make your audience laugh. It'll give your potential clients, and it'll give all of the people that follow you and all of the people that tune in and subscribe to your channel, it'll give them a real glimpse of what you are like and what your life is like outside of the office. And it will also help them understand just how much passion that you have for trying to grow your firm and therefore help as many clients as you can. Again, this is Annika Godlewski. I'm so happy that you guys were able to join me today. If you're in the Maximum Lawyer Guild, this is always, you'll always have live access from 12:30 Central, 1:30 Eastern every Wednesday. And then if you're listening to the podcast in your car, at home, you can always go to MaximumLawyer.com and see all of our podcast episodes. We do this every week, but I really look forward to seeing all of you at MaxLawCon. We'll talk more about it as the days go by and we get closer and closer to the event in October. Again, get ready. It's going to be exciting, and make sure to make your list of all of the different people that you would love to interview and make videos with while you're in St. Louis. So thanks again. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.